have your phone in on FLAVASRadio.com.
You can wish all you like. If you're not willing to work for those wishes, you'll never see them.
Good evening, everyone. How are you doing out there in All Flavors land? Yes, you're tuned in to Allflavasradio.com. I am Wimbo77.
And I am KJV. Good evening, people.
Yes, a nice surprise for you all. A really nice surprise for you all tonight because Lily has to work late today. So it's KJB, DJ KJB in the hot seat. And I can tell you, we just hit the deadline because you know that technology decides to shut down on you and you just have to think so quick on your feet. And thankfully, we are here tonight, right, DJ KJB?
We are, and plus England and Germany are playing as we speak. So please do not put the scores up, please.
No scores allowed into
No scores tonight. Maybe at the end.
Maybe at the end.
At the end.
Take a photograph of it, isn't it?
Yeah, we can do. Take a picture.
Yes, because hi, Joy McKay. How are you doing? Good evening, George Flavors as well. Thank you so much for your help. Today's National Day then. Should we just, how was your day?
My day was okay. Bit of running around, but
Yeah.
I was, I'm here, alive, kicking, ready to rumble.
Oh, ready to
go.
rumble.
Ready
That's
to go.
Good. And thank you for going I know that you're watching silently on the screen the football, but I'll let you off. But you must concentrate as we are in the studio, okay?
I'm 100% focused. There is no football on my phone
Okay.
whatsoever.
Oh, never mind. Later, okay? Hush. So today's National Day.
Yes, it is.
And it is National Camera Day.
National Camera Day, so people smile.
Smile your on candid camera. Do you remember that, Ken? Candid camera?
I do. Now we're showing our age. We're showing our age to the people out there.
I know, because now they just call it Reels or something, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, Reels
I don't know
or
what
the
they call it now.
TikToks.
TikToks. It's TikTok now, isn't it? TikTok.
It's quite funny because they show you a lot of the older stuff on the TikToks. So it is National Camera Day, June the 29th. And it's a day to celebrate the fact that photography which was once so complicated, that took scientists to understand, it now is part of our everyday lives.
Isn't it? And when you think it dates back to over 800 years, the first invention of the camera.
It's amazing,
800
isn't it?
years.
I'd have never thought 800 years.
No, some fun facts.
Fun facts. We're going to look at some more fun facts as well because there are quite a few. And it says the camera obscura was nothing more than a box with a hole on one side. I have one of those, you know.
I know, downstairs.
I have
I
one
wonder
of
if it's
those
worth
downstairs.
anything.
I don't know, but I do have one of the first kind of, well, that's not the first one if it's 800 years old, because that one is probably stemming from like around Victorian times.
Possibly.
Yeah, so I do have one of those, but it was a light dark box with a hole that had an interior into the dark interior of the box, and it projected an image onto flat inner surface. It says, unfortunately, when the light was gone, the image disappeared. So I guess you'd look into the box and you could see the image on the back.
Possibly. We're going back a long time now. So,
But if once the light hit it, then you'd lose the picture.
Okay. Yes.
So I guess they weren't printing onto any paper or anything at that time.
No, I don't think they would have envisaged to do it on paper. That must have come
not
later.
At that time. Yeah, that can probably come a lot later. Even in our time, because when we used to have, I remember the Kodak cameras. Do you remember those? Was it Kodak?
Yeah. We used to press the button instant, and the picture used to come up. But what you used to do, you used to flick the picture a few seconds,
so it would dry.
And the image would be there.
Yeah, and funny enough, those images or those cameras have kind of are a bit hitched these days, because now everything, we've gone from a box that just had an image in it to actually having an image on our phones.
Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've gone that far, right? So we don't have an actual photo per se on picture again, but we do have a lot of pictures in our phones.
Images.
Yes.
We have more images these days. It's
Yeah.
more to do with images than pictures, isn't it?
Yeah, so it says, when everyone with a smartphone has a camera at their fingertips, whether you love shooting film and changing lenses or prefer the ease of digital use, June the 29th is there to focus on how cameras have made telling our stories easier than ever. And it's so lovely that we can catch our lives and images, don't you think, as memories?
Well, they say memories are made of pictures, isn't it? Every picture tells a story. You know,
Yeah.
when you go back in time, you got the one of like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X,
Yeah.
the Black Panther, the athlete standing on the podium with his hand raised. That's an iconic picture.
Plenty.
So there's a lot of pictures that are iconic and
Yeah.
tell a story. So
Yeah.
you know, so pictures are amazing things. So if you've got a camera or if that's your passion,
Yeah. Well, go ahead with that, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Because today is National Camera Day. And let's look at the timeline, because it says ancient optics invented. The Chinese provide the earliest known written record of their exploration of camera, obscura or pinhole imagery. So that was in 400 BCE. That's quite
that is,
hard to imagine, isn't
isn't
it?
it? But again, it's amazing. It had to be the Chinese, because when you think of
Fuji, Kodak.
when you do think of technology in that sense,
Yeah.
most of it comes out of the Far East.
Yes, yeah. I remember, what is it? So it was, like I said, Fuji was one of they were the ones with the what's it called? What you put inside the camera, the film.
The film, yeah.
To capture it. It says here that
Then we had Kodak, which is
Kodak,
another.
are they Japanese or are they British? What are they?
Someone can, if someone knows, drop us a text or come in the sign up into the chat room and let us know.
Yes, do
Let
let
us know.
us know.
Please let us know.
Okay. As well as, it says there, 1825, the first image printed by French scientist Joseph Nice
I'm glad you had to pronounce that.
invents the heliograph, a print that requires 8 hours of light exposure to create and which soon faded. So I think that was the one in the box then when we think about it. But it says that it was first image that was printed. So who knows? Then 1839, the forerunner of filming born, Louis Jacques, 1841, and all those dates are there, right down to our day. There's quite a lot of dates there, isn't it?
There is tons of dates, but it just shows the evolution or the development, should I
Yes.
say,
Yeah.
of modern technology that started from 400 AD, was it? Or BC?
BC, yeah.
BC
Yeah.
to 2021. It just shows how advanced we've become.
That's right. Right down to today where it says digital has become dominant. So Kodak stopped making film cameras in 2004.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's
So
just,
wow, 2000, it's been around for a long time then.
yeah, it's amazing. But it goes to show that's a lot of what they back then in the 2000s, in the noughties, is now obsolete.
Yes, yeah. But mind you that this, I think some people still print to film, but it's a rarity now, isn't it? It's more digital. Digital has taken over.
Yeah, it's a passion more now for some people.
Yeah.
It has to be a passion to do it that way,
Yeah,
opposed to
definitely.
digital.
Definitely. And we asked, this is the National Day, it's a National Camera Day. So what activities can we actually do on National Camera Day? Number one says, say cheese. It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving to take a family portrait. Like, so National Camera Day gives you another reason to get everyone together for a summer photo session. Who knows, it could become the new family tradition.
It could, but bear in mind you're only meant to do groups of 30.
Oh, that's very true. That's
At
true.
the moment.
Although over the start end, we could say that wasn't the case, right?
That's yes. We were. There's
yeah.
definitely more, but it was mainly kids though.
Yes, it was, but there was a lot of people.
A lot of people.
We had
more kids than people. I would have thought.
celebrated Black Lotus were out entertaining us, as well as this was at Broadwater Farm. It was a family community day.
Yes,
It was very well received. It says we need our parks. So it looks like they're wanting to build on our park
on
spaces.
the wreck, yeah, because it's a green space, isn't it?
Yes, yeah,
It's a massive green space.
and definitely somewhere like Water Farm, we need the space, the green parks. We don't need no more. We do need houses, and they're doing a lot of building at the moment.
But that's the key word, houses.
That's right. Yeah, they put a lot
Houses.
of people in flats now.
At the
isn't it?
moment, the builds are mainly blocks, flats, high rises. As if people look around London, that's what the majority of what they're building.
Yeah.
Houses in London is difficult because of getting enough land.
But the thing is, I know that, but when they start building on the green spaces, you need the green spaces as well, isn't it? So that's another story.
Yes, that's for another.
So number 2, you can take a safari. So not necessarily going to the Serengeti or anywhere like that, which would be nice still, wouldn't it?
But we've got some lovely walks. We've got nature. We've got nature walk.
That's right.
Tottenham Hell. What's it called? The walk just there we did the other day.
Oh, I can't remember, Ken. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I know.
It escapes me. The wetlands.
The wetlands. That's it.
Yes.
We got the wetlands.
So do you have anywhere like local that you can kind of walk to, can take some nice pictures and so forth? It's nice to get a nice snap, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
As well as get creative by scrapbooking. So if you like to take pictures of different things, you might have one specific thing, then create a scrapbook is a nice idea as well.
Okay, because
suggested.
you like taking pictures as well. You know, when you're, especially when you go down to Springfield Park, you see birds, you like to take pictures, certain flowers.
Yeah.
So, especially now, like we've just discussed about having the modern phone, you don't need to necessarily have a camera.
Yeah.
But even with your phone, just to start appreciate the beauty, take some pictures, just bring you back to nature and nurture.
Totally. So, beautiful people, did you know there are 5 facts that we're going to tell you right now about photography? They're 5 fun facts, and the first one is, yes, you do have a good side. I don't know what my good side is.
All sides are good.
You would say that.
I definitely would say.
Okay,
Yes.
so it says researchers at Wake Forest University found that the left side of our faces look better in photographs than the right side does. So that's quite interesting, isn't it?
That's what I didn't realise that.
Yeah, what's the next one?
Another fun fact.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. It says the best model was a dead model, which I don't know where that came from. Where we get that fact from?
It used to take hours of exposure to capture a single image. So many of the earliest photographic portraits were taken were of corpses, and that's very true. I've seen that. So a lot of the old Victorian,
Would they prop up the corpses?
yeah, they were of dead people.
Wow,
That's quite an interesting fact, isn't it?
that's very interesting.
As well as cheers for the cheerleader effect. So research published in the journal Psychological Science show that because being in a group averages out everyone's features, we're perceived as looking better in group shots than in individual portraits.
I don't know about that. I think a group shot is good because you're capturing the whole group and the essence of the group.
Yeah.
But I think individual shots can still look beautiful as well.
Yeah, totally. But I kind of get that and don't, because I don't know. I'm not too sure about group shots personally, but it's preference, isn't it? And it says, no, that they weren't afraid to smile. So it says, in fact, the reason people look so grim in old photos is one of necessity. It was almost impossible to maintain a smile when you have to sit absolutely still for hours to get a single shot. Yeah.
Well, I can think of. Well, we still. So sometimes I've seen pictures, and especially of my family, the older generation, should I say, and they never used to smile that much. If anybody disagrees with that, please
Let us know.
Put it in the chat room. Drop us a text if you agree or disagree. That the older generation really struggle to. Even now, sometimes we struggle to sometimes break a smile in a picture.
But a smile is good. A smile is good. And finally, the last fun fact is that the selfie debuted in 1839, and that was Robert Cornelius. He set his camera up in the back of his family store, removed the lens cap, and then ran into the frame to capture his own photo, a process that took several minutes. So we love National Camera Day. Would you say that, Ken?
I think it's a fantastic day, and I think if we do have the opportunity to celebrate it, celebrate it.
That's right, because photography preserves memories and anyone can take a photograph. And why we love National Camera Day, you could pick up a pen or use a computer to write about what's going on in your life, or you could take a picture.
Brilliant.
Fabulous, fabulous. So hashtag National Photography Day or National Camera Day, and we love photographs.
Yay.
All right, so
Definitely.
for you to join
Fun facts.
in on the conversation, 07895 134 713. And our question that we're asking today, because we've not asked it, I got a lot of backlash on Facebook as people thought that this question was coming from me, but we saw a video and it was a white woman. It was a man showing that there was a leaked conversation from a group of white ladies, and they were claiming that black men are desperate and have low self-esteem. So we really just wanted your thoughts on it. Are our men desperate, and do they have low self-esteem? We'll be looking at that a little bit later on. Facts about history today then, Ken, today in history.
Well, we're celebrating a Dr. Carter G Woodson, the father of the Black History Month.
And it's actually said that quite a few other people were inspired Black History Month, but this Dr. Carter G Woodson, he was really the founder of the journal Negro History, and he's well known and won an award for being a wonderful historian. He was born into slavery in 1875, and in 1907 he obtained a BA degree from the University of Chicago. I thought that was amazing looking through this, because so soon after slavery he was able to go to school and earn himself a bachelor degree.
When you think of Harvard,
Yeah.
that wouldn't have been an easy step to take, because it is the best uni. That's like going to Oxford or Cambridge.
Yeah.
In this country,
Yeah.
equal to. So that was for a black man that's come from that background.
Yeah.
That was an amazing achievement, I think.
That's right, because that was in 1912 that he received his PhD from Harvard. Amazing. You know, when we dig into these history books and we dig a little bit deeper, I mean, once a week we look at someone in history that has made waves, that's a pioneer, that's an ancestor, that has set a precedent for us to follow. Well, there's so much of them out there. There are so much, and coming out of slavery, it's nice they've come away from that and that have not allowed that to hold them back, which I find quite amazing. Now, in 1915, Dr. Carter, he and his friends established the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, and a year later the Journal of Negro History began quarterly publication. So then they started to publish their works and findings on the journaling Negro history. Okay, so in 1926 Woodson proposed and launched the annual February observance, which we now know as Black History Month. But the Americans, they celebrate it in February, and we celebrate it in October. Yeah. So it became Black History Month in 1976, by the way. And it said that he chose that February for observation because February the 12th was Abraham Lincoln's birthday, and February the 14th was the accepted birthday of Frederick Douglass. See, a lot of these people that we've covered, again, they're coming back around. And
there's a connection.
That's right. Yeah.
There's interlinked.
Everything links.
Interlinked.
Everything links, which is wonderful. So Dr. Woodson, who was the founder of Associated Publishers, the founder and editor of the Negro History Bulletin, and the author of more than 30 books. And his best known publication is The Miseducation of the Negro. That is a fantastic book. I've read it. And it is, I think every single black person should read that book, The Miseducation of the Negro. So if you are a reader, definitely check that one out. And that was originally published in 1933 and still
It's
is.
still. And if you have read it, again, drop us a line in the chat room to let us know what you thought of the book.
Yeah.
Do you think it's still prevalent today? Is it still relevant today?
Absolutely. It is, definitely. It just shows you the background and the mentality and the thinking, behind like black people and why we think in certain terms. Another great book was the one by Booker T. Washington.
Yeah, up from slavery.
Yeah.
That was a cracking book.
Yeah,
Absolutely
brilliant
brilliant book.
So it says he died in 1950 and he died of a heart attack. Was a scholar whose dedication in celebrating the historic contributions of black people led to the establishment of Black History Month, marked every February since 1976. So Woodson fervently believed that black people should be proud of their heritage and all Americans should understand the largely overlooked achievements of black Americans.
That's excellent. And it's interesting because this person, Woodson, was an American scholar and writer, an advocate for black people.
Yeah.
But also, although he's talking about predominantly Americans should know their black history, we can now come across the water and actually add that to
Yes.
ourselves as well.
Yes.
So as British black people,
Yes.
are we aware of our history? Do we know our history? Yeah, so that's just as important as for them. And it's shouldn't be no different for us as well.
What I love about Woodson was that it says that his schooling was erratic and he helped out on the family farm as a teen. And as a teen, he worked in the coal mines, but he had a hunger for education. And he was largely self-taught, because I was wondering that. I mean, he got a BA. He was born, what year was he born in? 1875. But by 1907, he obtained his BA degree. So someone do the maths for me, because I can't work the maths out. And then by 1912, he'd received his PhD.
It's 5 years, 4 or
He
5.
worked hard within a short space of time, because that's like 12 and 5. So 5 years after
5
he'd
years.
done his BA,
Yeah, 5 years.
he got a PhD. That's hard. That in this day and age to achieve something so great like that.
Especially when you talk about where he came from.
Yeah.
And at such a young age, having to possibly self-fund himself.
Yeah, self-taught.
Self-fund. We're not sure because
Yeah.
obviously it was very difficult for black Americans back then
Yeah, yeah.
to rise above what they'd been through. So
Yeah.
that makes it with that background, it makes it even more of an achievement.
Yes, so I think that's quite a feat actually. And wow, he's gone on and he wrote over 30 books and we're still learning from him today. So I find that quite amazing. Check him out. This is, Dr. Carter G Woodson, all right, the father of Black History Month. And we can learn so much from him. So, Kenny, I think that we'll just go to a short break and we'll see y'all in 5.
5.
Stay there. We'll be back after these.
Call us now on 07895 134 713. That's 07895 134
Okay, so that was the sounds of the Commodores' Night Shift, and we started off there with a bit of Luther Vandross. All right, so Ken, KGB.
Yes.
Next thing is the word of the day. That's what we're going to be talking about now, right?
Yes, the word of the day is whilom.
Whilom.
Whilom. Rewind, my sister.
Yeah.
Whilom.
So it says, did you know whilom shares an ancestor with the word while?
No.
Yes, both trace back to Old English words will. So it's an English word, it's an Old English word, and it means time or while. So wait for a while. Whilom, yeah.
I had no idea. Some of these words I would have until you do these words of the week. Some of them I would dream of actually knowing that they actually existed.
Yeah, that's why they say it's really good to learn a word a day, because it extends our vocabulary. And this is an old English word, whilom, and it was an adverb meaning at times. So this use passed into Middle English with a variety of spellings, one of which is whilom. So in the 12th century, the word acquired the meaning formally. So it's to do with time, while, or formally. And it says its usage has dwindled because by the end of the 19th century, it's since been labelled archaic.
It is, isn't it? It's like thee, thou, thou. Middle English, back centuries, before the 19th century, that's how people would talk. Even some of the old films, and you watch some of the films, that's how they...
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
So we know now, modern language has changed.
Totally.
Totally changed. So
Totally.
you can understand why it is seen as archaic.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine standing by the bus stop and someone asking you a question and you use that word?
The
bus will be whilom.
Here in a whilom.
In a whilom. They're like, what? Where? What?
Yeah. It said it first appeared on the scene in the 15th century, with now obsolete meaning deceased. It's dead in the waters. And so by the 19th century, it was being used as former. So it's quite funny how words go on and they transition and change as well.
Yeah, because now we use while.
Yeah, while.
Wow.
Or former, or time. And it's relatively an uncommon word, but it does see occasional use.
Does it?
So I guess if you were writing a novel, for instance, and it was set back in the day.
Yeah, like a play or a period piece.
Yeah, right. So if it was a period piece, then you would want it to be as authentic as possible. So you'd include words such as that. However, the word that we used last week, miasma, do you remember that word?
Yeah, miasma.
Miasma. It's cropped up quite a lot this week.
Has it?
Yeah.
In articles?
Not in articles, but just in the way that we can use it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can see how we can apply that to situations, that word miasma. But yeah, this whilom, it's an old word and it disappeared by the 19th century. But it's still good to have an idea, especially if we're writers or we're creatives in that sense. Like you said, screenwriters, whatever. If we are doing period pieces, then that word...
That's true.
whilom,
Radio show.
Yeah, radio show. Whilom may come up in our vocabulary. So remember, it's good to learn a word a day and, extend that vocabulary. Yes, Ken.
And again, I was just saying that these are fun facts. Tell us what you think about the word of the day. What do you think? Do you enjoy the word of the day? Is it something we should continue? Drop us a line in chat room or give us a call or send us a text.
07895 134 713. Okay, so breaking news. Now, I saw an article today, I think we'll scroll down to it, because I thought it was really quite powerful. And it was highlighting a young boy who he started his own tutoring business coming from school. Because of the whole lockdown situation and being in lockdown, he's just finished school, and I'm just trying to find the article here, and he has decided to start his own business as a tutor.
Wow, that kind of links in with Mr. Wood. Is it Wooden?
Wooden. Oh, Woodgrove.
Woodgrove.
Yeah, Woodson. Yeah.
Woodson. At the top.
Yeah.
About how he self-taught himself, went on to do his university at Chicago, then he went to Harvard.
Yeah.
So it runs a similar kind of thread, isn't it, about that thirst for knowledge and wanting to be your best self.
This young boy, his name is, let me find his name, sorry, Malarkey. his name is, 16-year-old Malarkey, started his own tutoring business. He's 16 years old, and he's a former King Edward IV or VI Aston School pupil and has a passion for education. See, did you note that word that kind of keeps cropping up in there?
Passion
Passion
for education.
Passion.
And this school's in Birmingham, if you wanted to know, by the way. It's a school. It's an article taken from a Birmingham newspaper. So it's based in Birmingham.
So it says, many children leaving school age 16 choose to relax and unwind over the summer months before entering the real world, I guess college or getting a job or whatever they choose to do. But this former pupil from King Edward VI Aston School decided to immerse himself straight away by setting up his own online tutoring business.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's an entrepreneur wizard, Malarkey Davis. He says he has a passion for education and inspiring others to be successful. He finished his GCSEs in May and believes he can offer a new type of tutoring which many adults can't.
Which is understand because he's been through the school system.
Yeah.
So he knows what works, what worked for him, what didn't work, and he can then use that knowledge to help and encourage others. I got a bit. Also, we got a big shout out to his parents.
Absolutely, yeah.
His parents must have played a pivotal role in encouraging him, and that encouragement, he's just taking on that gauntlet and he's running
with it. Yeah. He says he can relate to children of similar age better than some teachers in the classroom setting, and I believe that's so, because being a teacher, coming out, you're older, maybe you can't relate so much to the youngsters and what their needs are. So I guess him being a youngster, that he feels that he can kind of relate and know what they're going through, what maybe barriers that they might come across, what things that issues, whatever, as a young person that maybe an older person can't.
Because sometimes I think teachers just see the curriculum and see what they need to teach and don't really look at how we can make youngsters teachable.
Yeah. Not the fact of making them teachable, because we're all teachable.
Saying it in the wrong sense, making it look in the wrong way. Maybe I'm explaining.
Okay.
But basically, there's a lot of youngsters out there that do want to learn.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think, possibly, people can correct me if I'm wrong, that sometimes teachers don't actually understand the backgrounds of some of these children.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
In that sense, making them teachable.
Yeah, and I think it's about taking the time out to learn about what these youngsters are going through as well. But some teachers are under it. They're just can't relate because they've got piles of paperwork to get through and so on and so forth. So the teaching side or aspect of it takes a backseat, and it's sort of, if you can't keep up, then you fall behind. That's only in some teaching cases, I guess.
Just to add, sometimes it can be the size of the classroom as well.
Yes, yeah. And 30 odd children.
Wow, can you imagine?
And you don't just have one group of 30. If you're working in a school, you're going to have groups dependent on what you're teaching. Depending on where you're teaching, you could have up or nigh on a lot of students, students to be looking after.
It's true. And you've got to look at funding, the borough.
Yep. You know? We know that Haringey is one of the poorest boroughs in London. In fact, it's the second poorest borough in London. So that's quite sad to hear because then obviously the funds and those kind of things aren't there. Because
the borough's divided up. So it depends where the school is.
Yeah.
As to possibly what funding it will get, type of children that are going into it.
Yeah.
Although that shouldn't make a difference, but sometimes that can make a difference.
It makes a huge difference. Yeah.
It breeds the ground for positive teaching, or sometimes, unfortunately, it can turn out to be the opposite.
Now, a lot of schools are turned into academies. So some were local authority funded. The academies are government funded. So whereas maybe they might have got a bit more before, the government funded, they fund per student. So it's very hard. We spoke about it a few weeks ago when they was talking about keeping the students on till later on in the day because they have to catch up, and how much they were willing to spend, I think, was something like £700 per student over a 3-year period.
That's nothing.
Right. So it's quite amazing. So it says he's the best person to help if teachers are struggling, because he knows exactly what children are going through, especially having recently come out of education himself. So going through the system made him realise how hard exams are for pupils. He says he wants to help them get through it and be the best version of themselves. I really take my hat off to this young boy. And he says the Harbour resident is willing to teach any age group up to GCE level. So he's keeping it quite young.
He is, isn't he? And that's an amazing thing to do. Again, it goes to show, parents, we're parents. If there's parents out there, it just shows what our children can achieve. If we strive to instill those values in them. Again, give us a call, text.
Yep. And let us know what your thoughts are.
Yes, what your thoughts are. Some of you might have children out there who are listening. What do you think of the education in your borough or in the school that your child goes to?
Yeah.
Do you see the positives? Do you see the negatives?
Yeah, 07895 134 713. All right, so in line with that, Ken, and we do have a few minutes to discuss this, and this is regarding the police, because I'm going to spend a little time talking about the police and what our rights are when it comes to stop and search, as well as, if people find themselves in trouble with the police, because what's I found was that police powers to stop and search, is this the one? Sorry, guys. Regarding, there's a lot more black folk that are being stopped by sort of the underground police or transport police.
Yeah, Transport for London Police. Yes. Yeah. It's interesting that, because it says that when there was a census done, survey, it was shown that black people were at high risk of being stopped and having force being used on them compared to their white counterparts.
That's right. It says 6 times more likely to use force on black people. That's what the figures reveal.
Wow.
So black people are 6 times more likely to experience use of force from the British Transport Police, BTP, more than their white counterparts, according to the figures. And it says a Freedom of Information request shows official record detailing how BTP officers used force 6,325 times more in 2019 to 2020, with 1 in 5 cases involving black people.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, black. So it's not necessarily black males; it's black people.
Black people. It didn't specify, did it?
No.
It's not specifying. We have to kind of let everybody know it doesn't specify.
Yeah. So it says that the BTP Policies England, Wales, and Scotland rail networks. A spokeswoman said the BTP will always place diverse communities at the forefront of their policing approach. And she continued, we are acutely aware of our responsibility to demonstrate fair and effective policing and to consistently analyse and challenge the way that they work.
Well, that's an interesting statement to make when you look at statistics. The statistics does not necessarily collate with that statement.
Yeah, because they're saying it's like 6,325 times. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
And that's using force. And that's not even stopping and searching.
And I think that's the point. It's using force. To what degree that force is, we're unsure. But the fact that having to use force is highlighting the issue of possibly profiling.
Yeah.
And the type of people they're stopping. We're not, again, that's not put in the report. We're not sure. So there are things that we can't ascertain directly from this report. But when you look at that statistic, it is high.
It's a lot of people.
Very high.
In a year, that's only in a year, 2019 to 2020. So that's only in 1 year. Like I said, they're using force with these people. It says our approach will put the community at the heart of this process and not only welcome but invite their scrutiny. And it needs to be scrutinised if that's the case. If black people are 6 times more than likely to experience the use of force from, and this is the British Transport Police.
And it's interesting, if they're being scrutinised and they're going to be analysed, it'd be interesting to know if it's an independent body that does it or whether they do it internally.
It's from the National Travel Survey and Department for Transport.
Exactly. Department of Transport, it's Transport Police, so they're their organisation.
Not one, no, because it looks like they're separate, because it says the National
Okay.
Travel Survey and Department for Transport.
Okay, so there's 2 bodies that are overseeing, that analysing those statistics.
Yeah, because it says the British Transport Police are separate.
Okay, we're just clarifying that. Thank you.
And it's also data from the British Transport Police that shows 17.5 of all use of force incidents were against black persons.
Wow.
It's quite a lot, 17.5.
Well, it'd be interesting. This is 17.5, but what is that out of? Is that out of 100? Is that out of 50? We're not sure. So again, it's the statistics that are taken and screwed. Small statistics that are just being pulled out of a report. 17.5 is still very high.
Yeah.
Personally, for me.
Well, if it's going on the percentage that we said 4% of black people in the UK, which I don't agree with. I think there's a lot more.
Again,
then that's quite a high percentage.
That's quite high. And these are the ones that have been highlighted.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other incidents that have been perpetrated, but maybe not.
We're unaware of them.
Maybe unaware of them.
Yeah, so who knows? Who knows? So it says that there's a lot of disparities as regards to, it says it is important to contextualise that British Transport Police is unique in policing a national and transient population which covers many very varied local demographics across the 3 countries, and that's England, Scotland, and what was the other one? And Wales.
And Wales. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they are 3 different countries, so they're trying to join them all. But British Transport Police, I thought it would be more apparent more in London, but no, because I have seen videos sort of with police in, say, Birmingham and those other being very forceful.
Being very forceful, yeah.
With the people that are using the transport. I remember them dragging a woman off because she wouldn't put her mask on, but they didn't even ask her. They didn't even ask whether she was exempt. They just went straight in and didn't ask any questions, which is a bit out of order, isn't it?
Well, really, they're meant to follow protocol.
Yeah.
So obviously, if they're not following protocol, then that percentage is there for a reason. If that's the case, because I haven't seen this video, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm only going what you're saying. So if that's what they've done, surely that's not legal, is it?
That's right. So what we are going to tackle after the break, beautiful people, listeners, is what are the powers? What are police powers to stop and search, and what your rights are? It's very important to know what our rights are when it comes to stop and search. So that's what we'll be looking at after the break.
And also, just quickly, if anybody's had an experience and you're listening, please let us know.
Give us a shout, 07895 134 713. Oh, the sounds of Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. That's a big tune.
That's a sweet tune. That's a sweet tune.
Yes, I think, DiCarlo, we're going to be doing that in our set, right? That's what you said the last time, that we are actually, or have started gigging, should I say. So we are back on track, and that's wonderful to be out back in the public domain. I know that we were out with the boys on stage on Saturday. That was a bit odd and strange.
Well, the mics weren't fantastic.
Yeah, they were not mics.
We're not making any excuses here. I'm just saying the mics weren't the best.
I was quite shocked. You know, when you operate from a certain level, and then you'd like, oh wow, and the show's still got to go on when you think about it. But the guy's done really, really well. Black Lotus done amazingly.
Yeah, once they warmed up
Yes.
and got into their stride.
And it was a great, great day out. So check out Black Lotus Group. They've got a wonderful EP out at the moment.
Doing big things. They're going to do big things.
Yes, some
honestly.
really,
Get
really
on the
big
bandwagon
things.
now, because when they hit it, you
Yeah.
can say, I heard them here.
But we will be in South London on Saturday, and then on Sunday I think we'll be sort of in Hoddesdon or somewhere. So it's a lot the travelling started, but it's good. It's all good. Had projects closing and so on and so forth. So I've been very, very busy, extremely busy.
Being busy is good.
It's a good
It's a good thing. Being busy is a good thing.
Oh yeah. So what we were talking about before the break was that black people are more than 6 times more likely to be stopped or force being used on them by the British Transport Police, which is quite a high statistic because it said it was 1 in 5 people, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. It said 17.5%.
Right, 17.5%. So with that being said, it's really important, I feel, that we need to know what our rights are when we are being stopped, or if we have been stopped or are going to be stopped by the police, knowing what to say, knowing what to require of them and what they require of us. So the police can stop and question you at any time, and they can search you depending on the situation. A police community support officer or PCSO must be in uniform when they stop and question you. And let me have a look here, sorry. Stop and question you. And a police officer doesn't always have to be in uniform, but if they're not wearing uniform, they must show their warrant card.
Yeah, they've got to show ID.
Yes, the rules are slightly different in Scotland, so it's different kind of powers that they have.
We're
there.
just focusing on England, London.
Yeah. So stop and question police powers. What does it help us to see there, Ken?
It says a police officer might stop you and ask the following: what's your name? What are you doing in the area? And actually where you're going.
Right, so you don't have to stop or answer any questions, and if you don't, and there's no other reason to suspect you, then this alone can't be used as a reason to search or arrest you. Right, so if you don't have to answer the questions, and you don't, if there's no other reason to suspect that you've done anything, then this alone can't be used as a reason to search or arrest you. So just remember that. They can't just say, oh, we're going to stop and search you.
No,
it doesn't work like that.
They've got to have a specific reason
Yes.
to stop you
Yeah.
and ask you those questions.
That's right. And you don't have to answer. You don't have to stop and answer any of their questions. However, stop and search police powers. So a police officer has powers to stop and search you if they have reasonable grounds to suspect if you're carrying any of these things.
The following: illegal drugs, a weapon, stolen property, something which could be used to commit a crime, such as a crowbar or a possible hammer. I don't know. I'm just going on.
Yeah, you're right there.
Screwdriver.
Baseball bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do not have, if you don't have any reasonable grounds, so say you were a workman, for instance, and you had to carry a hammer, or if you were a chef and you had to carry knives, it would be in a proper pouch and all that kind of stuff. That's a reasonable reason or reasonable grounds for you to have a specific thing. But like, as Ken said, if you do have illegal drugs, a weapon, stolen property, or something that could be used to commit a crime, such as a crowbar, etc., then they do have a right to stop and search you. Okay, if you're not carrying it don't carry illegal drugs. It's only used for personal use, right? Or to whatever. So you can only be stopped and searched without reasonable grounds if it has been approved by a senior officer, and this can happen if it is suspected that you
have a serious violence could take place. You're carrying a weapon or have used one. You're in a specific location or area that's deemed by them to be a risk.
Right.
an area of risk, I suppose.
But this is only if you have committed a serious if serious violence can take place. You're carrying a weapon, or you've used one, or you're in a specific. I mean, that specific location or area, Ken.
I think we need. Well, I'm just thinking maybe a club, possibly a club, a bar, a sports stadium.
Okay.
Just,
well, fair enough.
I'm just thinking maybe possibly those. I could be wrong, but again, if I'm wrong, please.
Yeah.
Drop us a line in the chat room. Give us a call. Send us a text to highlight if you think we've missed out anything or you want to add anything.
Okay, so remember, you have the rights, and the police have to. They can ask you what your name is, what you're doing in the area, and what you're doing, but you don't have to stop or answer any questions. All right. So if you don't, and there's no other reason to suspect you, then this alone can't be used as a reason to search or arrest you. Okay. But obviously, if you are carrying illegal drugs or weapons and so forth, then they have the right to do that. Okay? So before you're searched, the police officer must tell you, write this down, their name and their police station, what they expect to find, for example, drugs or whatever.
Yeah, reason why they stopped chasing it.
The reason they want to search you, for example, if you look like you're hiding something, and why they're legally allowed to search you, that you can have a record of the search, and if it isn't possible at the time, how you can get a copy of that. So yeah, this is very, very important that they tell you their name and the police station. In which a lot of cases you don't see them doing this stuff.
They don't. They have to identify themselves. Just like any person that comes to your house or stops you. Normally they have a name tag.
Yeah.
They have a badge. They make you aware of who they are and where they've come from. That should be no different to anybody else, especially someone in a uniform.
Yeah. Yeah, so
they are public servants, so they should identify themselves.
Yeah, so what they expect to find as well. So we believe that you're carrying such and such, so they'll have to tell you what they expect and the reason why they want to search you. So we do have rights. We do have rights as individuals, as what do they call us, civilians, right?
Yeah.
So we do. So they're not allowed to remove clothing though. So a police officer can ask you to take off your coat, jacket, or gloves. And the police officer might ask you to take off other clothes and anything you're wearing for religious reasons. For example, a veil or a turban. If they do, they must take you somewhere out of public view. They can't do it in public.
Yes, so they have to respect your dignity, your privacy.
Yeah. So if they want if the officer wants to remove more than a jacket and gloves, they must be the same sex as you. So if you're a woman, a man can't ask you to take it and take it off. It's got to be a female officer.
Yes.
Okay, so in all these cases, this is on the gov.gov website. For if you want more information, just to go in there and really scrutinise it, because we're going to go in a bit more about the ages of consent and when they can stop and search you as well. Right?
Okay.
So being searched, though, doesn't mean that you're being arrested. And this was quite... It really not baffled me, but I thought, wow, because it was my mum, it was Joy McKay, she showed me a video, and it was of a young boy. I mean, he could have been more than 12, and the police were carrying him, arresting him into the bully van. And I thought, oh my gosh, this can't be right. They must have to tell his parents. However, the age of criminal responsibility in England and Wales
is 10.
10 years of age.
I didn't know that.
10 years old.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this means that children under 10 can't be arrested or charged with a crime, but there are other punishments that can be given to children under 10 who break the law.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when we talk about criminal responsibility, does that mean that when they do arrest that child, although they've taken them into custody, they still got to have an adult present?
Well, it doesn't say that, no.
Okay.
If you're a 10-year-old, it means you can be arrested and charged.
But it doesn't say
with a crime.
But it doesn't say there's got to be an adult present.
No, children between 10 and 7 can be arrested and taken to court if they commit a crime.
Wow. 10 and 17, wow.
Yes. Yeah, and they are treated differently from adults, obviously.
Obviously, yeah, because of
But
the age.
child from 10 to 17 can be arrested and taken to court if they commit a crime. Yeah. They are treated differently, however. They're dealt with by youth courts, given different sentences and sent to special secure units or centres for young people and not adult prisons. But that's quite amazing, isn't it? Children from 10 to 17.
Yeah, it's very specific, isn't
Yeah.
it? 10 to 17, because obviously above 17, you're classed, like, I suppose
Yes,
you're classed as
from 18, yeah,
18, you're classed
yeah.
as an adult. So,
Yeah.
wow, that's an amazing
Yeah,
thing. Can you
so-
imagine being 10 and taken to an adult police station?
But
Remember, it's all adults.
Yeah,
So
but-
how does how, you know?
The thing, no, you're not taken to with adults. You're not with adults.
No, I mean taken to an adult environment, because the police station is
Yeah,
really an adult
yeah,
environment, isn't
yeah.
it? What we're talking about.
Yeah. But then if they do commit a crime, then obviously there's no mention of parents here.
This is what I'm saying. This is why I'm trying to clarify. I don't know if anybody else has anything to add or can clarify some of the points that we're raising. I would assume that there is an adult present, either at the police station or they get an adult to accompany the child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, as I said, it's an adult environment they're going into.
Doesn't matter. From 10 to 17, you can be arrested. So when I saw that young boy saying, the police, they need to call his parents, they need to, I guess they don't need to do anything. They can be arrested and they are responsible for that action, whatever crime they've committed. The 10-year-old
At 10?
is... Yeah.
Because I don't know if I'm understanding right. A child of 10 can't be emotionally or educationally responsible for some of the things that they're doing. They must have other people who are kind of coercing them to do possibly what they're doing.
Not
I can't
necessarily.
believe.
Because of James Bolger, was it? Remember the young boy, the two boys that they kidnapped the boy and
Yes,
they killed him?
yeah,
And there's been
yeah,
other instances in that
I guess
case,
so.
and they were very young children.
Very young.
Okay, so sometimes, like it said, they've got to. I'm sure that they will work it to see whether they are responsible in that case. But James Bolger's killers were charged. They were two young boys.
Yeah,
Venables, was it Terry Venables and another?
They would. I can understand they were charged.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can't imagine at that age they could fully understand the ramifications of what they did.
Come on.
They fully couldn't have. I don't think they could at that age. Unless, as I said,
So are you saying they're not responsible for
I'm not
what
saying
they did?
I'm not saying they're not. They got to be held
Yeah.
responsible because
Yeah.
at the end of the
Thank
day,
you.
but to understand how it would have affected them after the fact.
Yeah.
There's no way mentally or emotionally they were prepared for that at that age.
Yeah, but they committed the crime. So they had to be held responsible for that.
No, I understand that. I'm
Yeah.
not disputing the fact that if you commit a crime, you got to be responsible for your
Yeah.
actions. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not talking about the action. I'm talking about the emotional state
Yeah.
and the mental state.
Yeah.
That's what I'm alluding to at that age.
I mean, in that case, it was quite severe, wasn't it? Whereas it could be petty crime, it could be little things, but don't forget sometimes these older people, like you said, coercion, that older people can use these younger people for mischievous actions or,
Yeah.
you know, and that there will be recourse. And this is why they use these younger soldiers. This is why a lot of maybe young people are going missing at the moment, because the older ones that are at the top feel that they're not accountable, which they are, for using the younger ones to do their dirty work.
And it's
In
interesting.
some cases.
And just to add to that, that means the young people
Yeah.
are not aware of the consequences of what they're doing from this. Because
Right.
from 10, you can
Yeah.
be arrested, up to age of 17, you can just be pulled off the street. if you're involved in something at the age of 10, that means although these ones at the top are using these youngsters, I think the impression is that, oh, you're at that age, nothing will happen to you. That's
the impression they're giving.
That's the impression they're giving. But obviously, from what we've clarified, that's not the case. But at 10, you're not to know that. That's what I'm trying to say.
But then they might know, Ken. Not all 10-year-olds aren't impressionable and don't know what they're doing. You can't say.
I'm not saying they're not impressionable, and I'm not saying that they should
unaware.
be accountable. I'm not saying that they're unaware.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing, but I'm saying legally,
right.
they're not aware. I don't think they're aware.
Well, we've just seen there, like you said, you didn't even realise. What we're saying to you listeners, what we're saying to you beautiful people, and bringing about awareness to these things, because maybe some people aren't aware of the police stop and search powers and what powers they have and what powers we have, because we have rights too.
I know.
We have stop and search rights, but knowing that if we are over 10 years old and have committed a crime, that we can be arrested and taken to the police station and charged.
And we know sometimes police are profiling. So sometimes the youngsters that are being stopped are not necessarily involved in any kind of crime.
Yeah.
But it's only because of the area they're walking in and because of the particular incident that might have taken place prior.
Yeah.
And they fit a bill or description, a profile.
Yes.
So they're being stopped.
Yep.
As well. So it's good for the youngsters not to see, and again, this all links to education, having a passion for education.
Right.
Because if we can instill a passion for education in our youngsters, they can get a sense of what they need to know. Yeah. So when they are in that situation, they don't overreact.
And as parents as well, just knowing what if we have youngsters, and it's a lot of young boys really that they profile, not necessarily the young girls, although the odd one here or there maybe, I don't know. But at least us as parents know what our youngsters' rights are, and even us as adults, we know what our rights are if we're stopped by the police. Yeah,
I'm thinking more of youngsters, because when I think about it, if you're a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, and there's two burly policemen standing in front of you, it's a scary encounter. They can be quite scary, and it can be difficult for you to kind of open your mouth and talk and be assertive as to what you need to say. Yeah. So it's so important for parents to try and educate their kids around this.
It's important. It's so important. Yeah. So it's Joy McKay says, what happens if there's a fine? They are not working. Who pays the fine? Well, it's the parents.
Shall we clarify that? Yeah. The parents or the guardians pay the fine.
Yes. Yeah. Parents or guardians have to pay the fine, sadly. And the parents can be held accountable as well, going through this paperwork. On the gov.uk, parents can be held accountable.
Yes, especially if you go to youth court.
Yeah.
If you go to youth court and your child comes up in front of a judge, the parents although the parents may not have kind of elicited or got involved in what's been happening, you are still, as a parent, that's why it's so important. If we are accountable, we need to educate ourselves and our children. And we're not talking about 15, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, which it is more prevalent. But we're now going to younger children now. We're talking about 10 and up. Well,
what is good about the situation is that there are measures in place as well. So young people aged 18 are treated as adults by law. If they're sent to prison, they'll be sent to a place that holds 18 to 25-year-olds and not a full adult prison. However, there are youth crime prevention programs. Okay, so not saying that everyone that's stopped and searched is a criminal. Let's have that first off. Not everyone stopped and searched. What we were talking about was stop and search powers that are there, that can be tapped into, that we need to know what our rights are. But there are youth crime prevention programs. So how young people are put on programs, what these programs are, and how they work. They also have mentoring program and involving parents and families as well. So you can find all of this stuff on the .gov website. But please, just to remember, okay, before you're searched by the police, if they want to search you, then that you've got to know their full name, their name and police station, and what they expect to find, for example, drugs, etc. The reason they want to search you, for example, if it looks like you're hiding something, so on and so forth, what they are legally allowed to search, or why they're legally allowed to search you, and that you can have a record of the search, and if it isn't possible at the time, you can get a copy. All right, so this is on the gov.uk website, and it's all well and good. We need to know what our rights are, and definitely look into it.
Definitely. So I'll implore anybody who's listening to go on the website and sit down with your kids and go through some of this. Maybe not all of it, but just what's relevant to them. Really, it's so important. So important.
Fabulous. So after the break, we're going to see white women claim that black men are desperate and have low self-esteem. Is that true? What are your thoughts? And this was to Elite Conversation. That was heard. We'll tackle that right after the break. We'll see y'all. Oh, yeah. So it was the sounds of Gwen Guthrie there. Sweet Bitter Love. So we come very close to the end of the evening on this June 29th. Can you
imagine? Can you believe it? And it's just flown by. The month is just like, wow. It's just June the 1st. Now tomorrow's June the 30th.
Yep. It has been
amazing.
A roller coaster ride with all the June babies and everyone.
Yeah,
going on,
the four of you were June babies, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was me on Friday, 25th. And also I'm going to shout out my sister Mia, whose Earth Strong is on Thursday. So if you're listening, Mia, high five, and I'll be...
high five, sister-in-law.
Shout it. Yeah, your favourite sister-in-law.
Your partner in crime.
Yes. Okay. So we have asked the question as regards to something that we saw this morning, right, Ken?
Yeah, it was an interesting video. It was a video of a leaked conversation between some Caucasian women.
Yeah.
And they were reflecting on black men.
Right.
And how black men are viewed by them.
Yeah.
And they were saying basically that black men don't have, so not all black men, but some black men don't have the self-esteem. They said they don't have no self-esteem, and they're desperate, and they believe that if they've got a Caucasian woman on their arm, they're the bee's knees. Basically, it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yes.
Basically, that was the gist of the conversation. Obviously, there was more to it. So Wimbo's just going to expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, they said black men would go above and beyond to please a white woman because being with a white woman is like a dream come true. I mean, there was a lot. The common theme, he said, was that black men should date outside of their race because black women are hard to deal with. This is the perception that black women are hard to deal with. They're not submissive. They're not as freaky as white women. This and that for black women, and this and that for black men. And black men, white women are easier to deal with as a whole. However, he said that in his experience, that it was all to do with fetishism and so forth. Okay, one moment. Got a call coming in. 1 minute. Hi, caller.
Hi, good evening, caller.
That black. Hello.
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 Hi.
How you doing?
We're fine. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I was just calling in about the question.
Go for it.
Some part of me really doesn't want to, but I kind of have to agree. Well, not completely agree with the ladies, but it's one of those ones where it's like, it's a bit hypocritical to point the finger and say certain things when, I don't know.
Don't know what.
It's the same thing on the exact same side, if that makes sense.
What? So like a woman might say the same thing, a black woman?
Oh, black man.
Yeah, literally.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Okay, what? So like a black woman might say that, oh, he's lazy, or I don't know what a black woman would say really, because
He's no good,
yeah,
lazy,
Yeah,
doesn't want to work.
Because you
Don't look after
tear
the
down a
kids.
black man, and then when it comes to like saying something or reacting to when someone else is saying the same thing that you're saying,
right.
you don't kind of have the same energy. It's yeah.
Okay, so it I mean, we don't want to bring on a racist kind of conversation in that sense. It was just that this was a leaked conversation that somehow got out there, and you could see the comments that these women had made. But you are right; it can work both ways. That's basically what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it should.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your call.
Fancy your call.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, so in this case, he spoke also of racial fetishism. It's like a fetish. And I think that naturally Lily has kind of spoken on this, you know.
This came back from Wikipedia.
Oh dear, see how they're listening to conversation, this Google thing. And it's saying that racial fetishism is an indecisive form of racism. Yeah, because these women will want to go with a guy because he's got the BD, yeah, or BMC, I think they call it, as well as, you know, being with a strong black man. He likened it to, you know, one of those people, those guys that look like thugs, and they got that big pit bull terrier that you wouldn't approach them because the dog on the arm, it makes them look a bit more, you know, hardened or whatever.
You're talking about the perception of a black man.
This is what the guy said in the video. He was trying to do an analogy and relating it to a guy wanting to look cool by having this big dog. And basically he was relating it to the white women that wanted to have this big black man on their arm.
Oh, so it's like a perception. It's like it's like having a Gucci handbag,
Yes,
or yeah.
right.
So it's having that accessory to make you look a
basically,
certain way.
Yeah. And
Or
some
feel
women,
a certain way.
Yeah. And what he was saying was that he dated a white lady, and that it was like a trophy. He was like a trophy to her. So, and he could see in the things that she would say that she had a sense of racism or whatever subconsciously within her. Now I mean, it is a sweeping statement to make that white women, because it's not all white women, and this was an American guy speaking on the video, claiming that black men are desperate and have low self-esteem. Let's take that white women bit out of it, and let's look at the next claim there, that black men are desperate and have low self-esteem. Do you agree that to be true or false?
Wow, that's deep. That's
It is deep, yeah.
I don't know. Speaking from a black man's perspective, I think I don't see us as desperate. Sometimes we don't educate ourselves enough. So sometimes the situations that we do face can seem desperate. So we can look at, from the outside in, we can look desperate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And sometimes we do lack self-esteem, but I don't think that's lacking self-esteem because we want to, but sometimes we lack self-esteem because society and the pressures that black males can face can bring us to the point of having low self-esteem.
Right. And is that, sorry, I was going to say, that is that to do with family? Is that to do with work? Is it to do with life?
I think it's just doing life in general. You know, sometimes it can be difficult. Family can make things difficult, especially if you're with a spouse or a partner that does say that have the same ideals of you, have the same vision. Like he's saying, you know, he's with this woman, it's white, black, doesn't matter, but it was her perception. She had deep-rooted views
Yeah.
that sometimes comes out in a sentence or a word.
Yeah.
And that can chip at your self-esteem.
And it's a bit like that Meghan Markle thing we spoke of the other day, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, those subconscious biases that are there. And yes, Joy McKay says ego tripping more like. Okay, so it's an ego trip for the person that possibly has that trophy handbag man on their arm.
Yeah, so if we're looking at that person being egotistical, how then does that make that spouse or partner feel?
Yeah, yeah.
So do you know what I'm saying? So it's like two different levels. They're on one level,
Yeah.
and therefore that other person is not put on that same level.
Because what we got to see here, right, is what the statement that's made, that black men are desperate and have low self-esteem. I don't agree with that statement.
No, that's what I'm saying.
'cause, yeah, not the black men that I know are definitely not desperate and don't have low self-esteem. Yeah. So, like I said, it was a leaked conversation, and some of the things that these women were saying, it was I couldn't, it was just like, wow, is that really what they think? And I think one of the points that they made was that they would date a black guy, but they wouldn't marry them.
Which again, it goes back to that. Doesn't make a man desperate, but again, it can affect your self-esteem, isn't it? If you're with somebody and their sole aim is to just have you there as a trophy, no commitment. Basically, that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
That, you know, I want to be with you, but I'm not committed to you.
Yeah.
So therefore, how is that meant to make you feel? If you put in that position? So the desperation thing, I don't believe, and I agree with you. I don't think black men are desperate.
Yeah.
I think, like any man, irrespective of race or colour, you want to be the best person you can be.
Yeah.
You know, and desperation isn't part of what we're talking about here. Again, it's taken a conversation and they're taking it from their context, has a woman's context, how they see a male, particularly in this instance, it's a black male. But to be honest, that is a marginalised view. It's not a general view.
No, and it is taken as well from the perspective, because it is an American person's video.
Yes,
and
as well.
The context is slightly different because we've kind of lived side by side in interracial relationships.
We do, but that doesn't mean, personally for me, that things are still even. When we look at the scenarios of race and colour, which we're not bringing in, we're not going to dwell on that, but there is still major issues with that.
Yeah.
Even in this country.
George Williams says here on Facebook, he says, in the main, that's one person's perspective, but really she needs to ask, why is that? Perhaps she needs to read world history to find answers, and that is pertaining to the white women claiming black men are desperate and so forth. But it's getting to the nitty-gritty of what you just said there, because we know that black males have a high level of mental health. We've spoken on that issue. They have lots of issues. We've looked at police stop and search and so forth. Why are they targeted in that way? So they've got to be dealing with that as well as broken homes. There's a lot of things when it comes to the black male. Not necessarily saying that the white male as well doesn't have those things. However, there's a lot when we speak on the black male.
It's
okay,
true. It's true.
And I guess in the States it's a much different.
It's different, yeah.
Way of life.
But I like to flip it as well, because we've touched on two black males, individuals.
Yeah.
One went to Chicago University for his PhD.
Yep.
Then he went to Harvard.
Yes.
We had another young black, and on a different age spectrum.
Yeah.
With a young 16-year-old who's an entrepreneur and setting up his own business.
Yeah.
So
and
when we look
more.
and there's many more. So when we look on that side, there are a lot of positives to take from us being black men in this country.
Yeah.
There's a lot of positives happening. It's hard to highlight everything in this short space of time that we have left. So yes, there is the flip side of the negative aspects of being a black male.
Yeah.
But when we counteract that, there's a lot of positives, and like it all ties in about passion for education, a passion to educate yourself and elevate yourself through that education.
Absolutely. And it's so, what our caller said, it does cut the other way round. And taking colour out of it, we know that it was these women that probably had their view on the matter, but that's a very small nucleus of people, so we can't tar everyone with the same brush. Like I said, it is an individual's opinion, it's an individual's way that they see things. And in this case, when you do watch the video, we can see that's a nucleus of women that feel a specific way, but we're not generalising all white women feel that way. It was just a video that was watched, and it was a question that was thrown out there, but on the back end of it, speaking on black men and self-esteem issues and desperation, being desperate people. But as you've highlighted there, that no, there are black men that are doing awesome and great things, elevating to the next level, and that is the most important thing. However, again, on the flip side, there's a lot of black men that are struggling when it comes to mental health, when it comes to seeing themselves in a positive way. And so it's where's the balance in all of that?
And like I said, I know it's hard to find balance. You need the support network, which is important. Not everybody can have that, but you can look at positiveness of people who suffer from those issues.
Yeah.
There's footballers that have suffered depression and mental health issues. There were politicians, there were civil rights leaders. They all, if you think of those civil rights leaders, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, they were under pressure. They had problems with it. Obviously, they would have issues with themselves because they were living in a time where there was uprising, social issues, segregation. So that's always there will always be that issue with us. And it's different in this country to America, so I'm not going to compare it, but it shows that we can rise above it.
Always.
We will rise, and as black men, there are a lot of positive black role models out there. A lot of local heroes. We might not know, we don't know all of them, but
they're there.
I'm sure they're there, definitely there.
Yeah. If you pass the 10x rule. And let's have a look at what the 10x rule has to say, because we really have come close to the end of the evening. Thank you so much, KJB, for stepping in.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope all the listeners out there have enjoyed the show, and we're just thankful for you tuning in and taking the time to share these 2 hours with us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah. So, Joy McKay, we'll just quickly read your comments. It says, strong black women have very high morals, which normally comes from culture, and black males are given baskets to carry water in an unfair society. Very, very true. You give them a basket to carry water in. How on earth can you carry water in a basket? However, what Grant Cardone is saying in the 10x rule this week, it's be goal orientated. So like you said, having that passion, having that mission. And it says a goal is something, is some desirable objective, typically something yet to be achieved that a person or company needs in order to move forward. Successful people are highly goal orientated and always pay more attention to the target than the problem. They are seemingly able to bend bullets because of their commitment and focus on a goal. Far too many folks spend more time planning what they will get at the grocery store than they do setting the most important goals of their lives. If you don't stay focused on your goal, you will spend your life achieving the objectives of other people, particularly those who are goal-oriented. So basically saying, whatever those women were saying, leave them where they are and you keep progressing forward. Okay? No, our men are not desperate and have low self-esteem, maybe some do, and they can still work on that and elevate themselves out of such a situation. So we really do thank you all for listening to All Flavors Radio. We have come close to the end of the evening, and on after me will be DJ Laro with the Vibe Show from 8 till 10. Please check the schedules out, as we have shows every single day. DJ Laro saying, come on England, come on England, we did it. 2 goals to Germany. Let's celebrate with some good vibes tonight from 8 till 10 on allflavasradio.com. Yes, Laro, that's a nice one. They've done it, and it's very rare, isn't it?
Isn't it? Looks like football's coming home.
Is it coming home?
Is it coming home? Football coming home? Yeah.
Is it coming home?
I think it's coming home. We'll see. We'll see.
We will see. We will see. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully, Lily will be back in the hot seat next week. All I guess we've got to say, Ken, is
we'll see you on the other side.
Take
Good night.
care.